Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Root Network. My name is Pastor Archie Collins. I'm the senior pastor here at World Changers Church Houston, and I want to introduce a topic that is kept far too silent on, especially in the body of Christ. And the best way I could describe this topic, it's dealing with church hurt when you've been let down by the church. There are many people that go to church, and in some way or another, they end up being disappointed, let down, or even done wrong. And as a leader in the body of Christ, it is imperative that we address this and let people know that, number one, you're not crazy. Number two, you're not alone. And number three, that there is a way to heal from church hurt. So this segment and these segments, I believe, are going to bless you. We have some special guests on here who are professionals in their field, and we look forward to seeing how God ministers to you through the revelation that we discovered in looking at how to deal with church hurt when the church definitely sometimes lets us down. What about you? What have you seen in the body or in the church as it relates to this particular topic of individuals feeling betrayed or let down by a ministry they're a part of, or just the ministry, the church?
Right. So I think for me, my first thought is people see the church in a certain light. And you don't think that certain things are going to happen in the church. People come into the church and they expect everyone to be quote unquote perfect. So there's no betrayal that could happen. You trust everybody because we're all Christians. But it just doesn't work that way because we're all human. And we bring our own human pieces of ourselves into the church. So, there's an expectation that we kind of look at when we walk into those church doors, and then we don't expect, church hurt to happen. We don't expect betrayal to happen. And for me, I can give even a personal story of church hurt. It was years ago. I was younger in the church. And I had to, this goes back to what we were talking about a few minutes ago. I had to separate myself from the church because, when I got there, I was expecting a certain level of love. I was expecting a certain level of, trust and respect and admiration to, the people that were, giving me the word, the people that were hearing the most from God. And when that expectation that I had wasn't met, there was like, okay, wait, hold on. What are you saying? So, in that regard, I had to separate myself from the church until I could kind of recover from that and heal from that. And then I came back and I was able to, hear the word as a mature person and separate the person and their, deficiencies, so to speak, from the word that they were getting from God. So, for me, you have to be able to kind of separate that a little bit. And for most people, there is no separation as far as just God, and it's just the church, and that's it. And there's no separation of the human qualities that people have when we talk about church. And so when we get hurt, there's an expectation and we're let down and we're betrayed. So, we don't really know what to do. So, then this is again where this conversation is coming in of, okay, so what's next for people? What do we do next?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big piece that often people may miss is the same way that we as parishioners may want church leadership and everything to honor and respect our humanity. We have to make sure we're doing that as the reciprocal to leaders and individuals within the church. Now, understanding, and I guess we'll progress our conversation a little bit, understanding though that there are caveats to that within legal things, and responsibilities and expectations and things like that, because that doesn't mean as a pastor, I can just get away with anything, correct?
Right.
Nor as a parishioner can you just get away with coming in there and, I don't know, stealing out the offering bucket. I can't get away with, betraying the trust of the membership by acting out in ways that are unbecoming of my role or my office in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So what what happens now when those lines begin to get crossed? We've talked about making sure are right and making sure that we separate ourselves and go get help, go get ourselves together in those kind of everyday normal situations that go on. Somebody rubbed me the wrong way. I don't like the way they were talking to me. They didn't really take care of me like I wanted to be. Those are those initial kind of what I would almost call softer feelings of betrayal. But then what happens when it's just downright stuff, something happened and it was just wrong? How do I now move forward using some of the same things we just talked about? But man, we all know that it amplifies emotionally times 1,000 when we've heard these stories about pastors falling, adultery happening, people stealing, things like that. There's actually a very, very popular current event of a very popular ministerial leader of a university that it's come out, that he and his, wife were in an adulterous relationship with somebody else and so on and so forth. And I can only imagine how the folks at that school are feeling and how the body of Christ is feeling. But there are situations all over the world that deal with stuff just like that, even some even close to home. How does that affect the individual, the body, the church, and how do we get past that? Thank you so much for watching the Root Network with us on today. We're so glad to be able to share how to be fruitful from the root to the fruit in every area of your life. Make sure that you like this, that you share this, that you subscribe to this so that you can continue to help us spread this gospel of grace and this ability to be fruitful all over the world. Again, remember you're victorious and we thank God for you. We'll see you next time on the Root Network.